month of fasting. Obviously, people are celebrating the Eid al-Fitr itself. So Muslims, they celebrate the victory with a variety of food. Hans just mentioned that. Now, however, if done excessively, the feast to celebrate victory after fasting for 1 month may end up causing environmental problems.
Now, this actually, oftenly being overseen because, several studies show that food waste has become an environmental issue. Now, one community called Surplus aims to fight for and help Indonesia become part of the solution to the food waste problem.
That's right. And to educate us more about how to manage food waste, we are now connected with Surplus Peduli Pangan Foundation Community Manager and Executive Director, Alia Fatina Diandari. Hi, Alia. So good to have you this afternoon with us. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so first things first, we already know a little bit about Surplus Community, but please tell us more about what is Surplus and why is it against food waste?
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Thank you for having us. So Surplus Community is operate under the name of Surplus Peduli Pangan Foundation that initiated by Surplus Indonesia, who develops a food rescue app to prevent wasted food from retailers by discarding it before closing time through the Surplus app. We are striving to fight for and assist all elements in Indonesian society in being part of the solution to the problem of food waste. We have prevented 3.7 tons of food from getting wasted and prevented emission of 3 tons CO2 equivalent. So we commit to fight against food waste, to support sustainable development goals, number 2, zero hunger, number 12, responsible consumption and production, and number 13, climate action.
And Alia, can you just educate us more on what is actually the classification of food waste? Is it just, the food leftovers, or that includes also the packaging or something like that?
Yeah, so food wastage is categorized differently based on where it occurs. So the first is food loss. It occurs before the food reach the customer as a result of issues in the production, storage, processing, and distribution phases. And it can be food that gets spilled, spoiled, or otherwise lost, or have quality and value reduction. And maybe we are more familiar with food waste that refers to final product food of good quality and fit for consumption, but still doesn't get consumed because it is discarded, whether it's left to spoil or expire. So food waste typically takes place at retail and consumption stage in the food supply chain. And yeah, it can be caused by our habit, like leaving food on our plate, improper food storage, buying or cooking too much, confused about food labels, and many more.
Okay.
Now, especially during festive of Eid,
Right. Yeah, celebration. It's not just during Eid al-Fitr itself. Obviously, during any big celebrations, that would be the problem. Alia. Now, take us more about this food waste. Now, what is the impact to the environment that you can elaborate with us?
Okay, so maybe right now we can imagine the impact of food waste, right? But it may not affect directly our daily life, but has many impact on several aspects. So according to the result of a study by Bappenas, Indonesia disposed of 23 until 48 million tons of food per year in the period 2000 and 2019. And in fact, consumption stage produce most food waste, especially from the household. So it's from us, from our home. And the resulting economic loss from food loss and waste is 213 until 551 trillion. It's such a big of money, right? So to lost just because we throw away food, and the amount of food waste or wasted food same as portion of food for 61 until 125 million people per year. So it's so ironic when Indonesia is the third country with the highest hunger rate in Southeast Asia on 2021. So there are many food wasted, but in the same time, there are many people who are really struggling to get enough food for daily life. And for the environmental impact, in 20 years, the amount of food loss and waste generate emission of 1,702.9 megatons CO2 equivalent. So from the food that being discarded, that being thrown away, it can destroy the environment.
Okay, all right. So I guess we all know the answer to this question, right? Food waste causes global warming, of course, but can you tell us again why?
Okay, now when food is lost or wasted, all the resources that were used to produce the food, including water, land, energy, labor, and capital, go to waste too. And not to mention that there are many people who throw away their food every day. So maybe we are wondering how can organic waste like food waste can be damaging to the environment. So if food wastage mixed with inorganic waste in landfill and rots, it produces methane, a greenhouse gas even more potent than carbon dioxide that we are more familiar, to warming up the earth that contribute to climate change. So from emission from food loss and waste itself are equivalent to 7.29% of the average Indonesian greenhouse gases. And so we can imagine how big the impact of the food waste for our environment, because it can produce greenhouse gas emission. And as if we still doing this, if the world's population continues to grow, our challenge should not be how to grow more food, but to feed more people while wasting less of what we already produce. But we have to know for sure if that our environment is damaged, we might have trouble getting enough food.
Now, we already talked about the sources and the causes of food waste. Now, can you just give us an insight on how we can actually, make the food waste useful in our daily life? Let's say, because you said about the domestic level of food waste. What can we do in a domestic level?
Okay, yeah. So the key to reducing food waste is to target the item which can be reduced by changing consumer behavior from us. It is helpful to we should distinguish several categories of food waste. So the first category is avoidable food waste. So it means edible food thrown away that maybe because our stomach are full, or we lost appetite, or we improper storage like that. And the second category is possibly avoidable food waste. So it means that food that some people eat and others do not, maybe like bread crust, or that can be eaten when a food is prepared in one way but not in another, like potato skin or fruit peels that maybe not many people eat it. And the third category is unavoidable food waste. So it means waste arising from food preparation that is not and has not been edible in normal circumstances, like meat bones, kitchen scraps, tea bags. We don't usually eat it.
Prawn shell,
So
crab
if
shell,
we
something like
focus,
that.
yeah. So if you focus in unavoidable food waste first, we still can prevent wasted food from ending up in landfills that we mentioned earlier. It causes bad for environment if we do something to be more creative. One example is you can regrow from the veggie scraps on your kitchen, like lettuce, cabbage, and spring onion. You can simply place them in a bowl with just a bit of water in the bottom, then keep it somewhere that gets good sunlight, and you will get another plant that you can use for your cook. That's really creative. You can regrow your veggie scraps. And then second, you can do compost. So from the leftover food or food scraps that turn into compost, you can fertilize your plants. So what's from nature goes back to nature, right? And the third is you can try to make ecoenzyme. Maybe we are unfamiliar with ecoenzyme, but it is a multi-purpose liquid that is produced from the fermentation of food scraps like fruit peels, veggie stalks, etc. And the function of ecoenzyme is for mopping liquid, kitchen cleaner, fruit and vegetable cleaner, insect repellent, and plant fertilizer. So if we be creative with our food waste, with our food scraps, it can be useful things, and it and we will prevent it from being discarded in landfills and destroy or be harm to our environment.
Yes, that is very true. Now, Alia, we saw from Surplus Indonesia's Instagram account that you and your team have the Surplus Berbagi THR campaign.
Yeah.
Now, elaborate with us more about the campaign and also the purpose of it.
Okay, so our ongoing program is Turahan Hari Raya, which aims to collect excess packaged food to prevent wasted food from its celebration. Maybe you get the hampers parcel from your relative, your family, but you already have too much and you don't know when you consume it, right? And so we can prevent that for being wasted by you can send to us your hampers, your parcel, your food that packaged food, right? That's still edible and apa and still edible and still safe for consumption. And you can send us to us and we'll distribute it to underprivileged children. So you can share your food, your excess food with people in need.
That's a good idea.
All right, Alia, last but not least, how do we maintain a zero waste lifestyle from the smallest of habits?
Now,
Please
this is important.
teach me.
Yeah,
Teach
now
us.
this is
right
important.
here.
Okay, right. So the simplest thing we can do is to finish our food, right?
Yeah.
So
That is-
empty our
Yeah,
plates
that is just the
wherever
simplest and the most
whenever.
important thing.
Of course.
Yeah. So finish what already in front of us. That's our responsibility to finish that. So we don't throw it away. Especially after a month of fasting during Ramadan, we will get used to be more wise about our consumption habits. So eat wisely, be wise consumer, be mindful consumers. So we don't throw away food that's still edible, still good, and yeah, we can protect our environment and our society too if we want to share it to people in need.
All right. Alia, thank you so much for this explanation. So from this very short conversation, we found out that actually the food waste can be turned into something more useful in our households, like the eco-enzyme, being the compost and stuff like that. Thank you so much, and please send our warm regards to the
Thank
friends
you.
at Surplus.
Thank you,
Stay
Alia.
safe.